Welcome to the Exit Rich podcast, where the leading authority on buying, selling, fixing, and growing companies, Michelle Seiler Tucker, is dedicated to helping you find the path to retire rich and move on to your next adventure by exiting your business for the desired dream price you deserve. Get ready to exit rich with your host, Michelle Seiler Tucker.
Welcome to another episode of Exit Rich. I tell you, I have the best guest, but I really mean it this time. We have a really great guest, and her name is Donna Serdula. And we're going to talk about everything LinkedIn, everything you want to know, solve all your problems, get you set up with a new profile, and get you to where you need to be. And if we don't quite reach your expectations, guess what? You got the expert. You got the queen of LinkedIn here. She can connect with you afterwards, and she can share her magic with you. So let's talk a little bit about who is Donna Serdula. Who is she? Well, she's founded Vision Board Media. We should ask her about that too. Vision Board Media and LinkedInMakeover.com. I love that name, LinkedInMakeover.com. Her mission is to help people realize their internet identity and shape one that makes an impact and leads to opportunity. Donna became the chief influencer advocating the importance of taking control of your internet identity. So many of my listeners don't even know what that means. Dive into that too. And so really taking over that internet identity. She's also the author, now listen to this, of LinkedIn Profile Optimization for Dummies. How many of you have read some dummy books in your lifetime? I'm sure you have. So you need to go pick up this one. And again, I'll say that name one more time. So she's the author of LinkedIn Profile Optimization for Dummies. She's also, ready for this, been featured on Business Insider, Times Money section, I can't see y'all, and Wall Street Journal's Market Watch, LA Times, NBC, and Sirius XM Radio, The Focus. Welcome to the show, Donna. I'm just going to call you the queen of LinkedIn.
I'll answer to that. Thank you so much, Michelle.
So I'm so happy to have you on. We're going to have a lot of questions. It's going to be a real packed episode. So you guys are going to drink from a fire hose. Make sure you take notes. Always listen to this episode again and again and again. So, Donna, tell me a little bit about yourself. What were you like as a little girl?
Oh my goodness. As a little girl, I was super shy, like insanely shy and very quiet, which is hysterical to think that I now get up on stage and I talk to hundreds of people and I do things like this. And it was completely and utterly against my nature as a child growing up.
So you had to really grow and stretch yourself. And I always tell people, in order to grow, you have to let go of the control, and you really have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
That is so true. I mean, if you're comfortable, you're in your current zone, and if you want to get out of that, you've got to get uncomfortable. But I think for me, I have a message. I'm not doing this because I just want to. I really do feel that people need to understand, the importance of telling their story, the importance of LinkedIn for their careers, for their business, for their lives, and it's something that a lot of people, I just don't think they truly embrace it or recognize the true potential that it offers.
Yeah, I don't think they understand it. And many of us, like me, I'm not the most technical person. I'm really not the one doing social media. But in order to hire somebody and kind of oversee that, you really need to understand it. So that's why we had Donna on today, the queen of LinkedIn. So how did you become the queen of LinkedIn? How did you get started? How did this become your life's path?
I joined LinkedIn in 2005. Michelle, do you remember when you joined?
I know it wasn't 2005. So probably maybe 2012, 2013, 2014, somewhere around then.
It actually started, like, people were really truly joining. It was back in like 2003. So I wasn't even really the earliest of adopters, but it was 2005 that I joined. Someone had said to me, "Oh, this is a great platform. You can get tons of opportunity. You can find leads. You can find job opportunities. You got to get on And like, of course, I signed up and it looked like my resume, and I copied and pasted my resume, and I waited for opportunity to intersect with me, and nothing happened. It wasn't until later where I was in a position that was a very high pressured sales environment, like really cutthroat, like dog eat dog, 80 cold calls before noon every day. Like that was the life I was
What sales
leading.
industry was that? What sales industry was that?
It was technology. I was selling CAD software
Oh, okay.
to architects and engineers. It was basically, I was an Autodesk reseller at the time. But that was when I really, like, it all came together, the importance of LinkedIn, the brand, how you could really differentiate yourself and put yourself out there, how you could research people, collide with opportunity. It all was coming together. And then also taking the knowledge that I had from my previous position, doing so much with sales automation and customer relationship management tools. Like, LinkedIn made so much sense to me. And it was in 2009 that I started my business. And I was, like, people thought I was insane. Michelle, people thought I was totally and utterly insane. They were like, you're starting a business to write LinkedIn profiles
When
for
people think you're
professionals.
insane, Donna, when they think you're insane, you're onto something.
That's, you know, and that's what I felt, because I knew back when I was dealing with that sales territory, all I wanted was to find someone who could help me articulate my story, because it's so hard to write about yourself. It's so hard to see yourself in a manner that makes sense, that feels authentic, that resonates with other people, that's aligned to your goals. Like, it's so hard to do it. And like, you need to have someone take you by the hand and ask you the right questions, and really help make sure that, it's not just this obituary, right? That it's something that's future forward, that's engaging, that's exciting, that's impressive. So I knew that I needed someone to do that for me, but no one was doing it. Everyone was looking at it like, oh, it's a resume. Let's just copy and paste your resume, and nothing would happen, because that's not engaging. It's not truly your brand, especially for those who aren't job seekers. Not everyone is a job seeker on LinkedIn.
Yeah. So how do you do that now? Like, do you write engaging copy? I had a LinkedIn specialist that I worked with, and oh my goodness, he wrote the worst copy I've ever seen. And it was so hard for me to go back and try to correct that copy. And I kept working with him, working with him. I'm like, you know what? Maybe you're not the right person for me. And so I kind of just gave up. You do have a fan here, so I'm just going to mention this real quick. I don't want to slaughter her name. Katia?
Yeah.
It says, love Serdula.
I also see Christopher Brott, who I used to. Oh my goodness, that was back during the CAD days. He was an old client back
You
then.
got some fans. You got some fans on here. So let's talk about that engaging copy. Well, first of all, let's kind of start with the beginning. Well, I guess it is the beginning. Like, let's talk about profile, how you update your profile, when should you update your profile,
Yeah.
and how do you get that engaging copy and not just stick your resume up there?
Yeah, let's actually let me say this, and that is, having done this for, since 2009 that I started the business, and even before that, when I was actively using it in my business, I realized that you need to have a methodology for LinkedIn, a real step by step. How to really do this in a manner so you can soar. And so my methodology is, in fact, SOAR, SOAR. It's an acronym, and
SOAR.
it stands
Okay, let's
for
put that. My team, put that in the comment. SOAR. Okay, what is
SOAR.
SOAR?
SOAR, SOAR. So what does S stand for? S stands for strategize. And the strategize part is, you can't just write a LinkedIn profile. You just, like, if you just start to write your LinkedIn profile, you're going to fail, because you need to first step back and say, why am I on LinkedIn? What am I trying to accomplish? What is my real goal here? Is it sales and prospecting? Is it reputation management? Is it executive branding? Is it thought leadership? Why are you doing this, right? And then you need
And
to
that's
think in
with
terms
anything,
of,
right, Donna? That's like with
it
anything
is.
you do. You need to strategize. You need to ask, what is your why?
Yeah, right. The most successful people start their day planning it out and then attacking it. And this is the same deal. It's you've got to figure out your why and why are you doing this? And then who are you doing it for? Who is your target audience? What do they need to know about you? What do they care about? Right? But then you also have to think about yourself and what is your story? What do you want to be known for? What differentiates you? What do you stand for? All of those good things. Once you have that, then you move on to the O. The O is optimize. And
Okay.
that is, let's look at that profile and really make sure that it's aligned to all of these things that we've already discovered. That you have a great looking background image, you've got a great looking profile picture, you've got a headline that's engaging and is optimized, you have a featured section that calls out all the good things that you're doing, that you have this about section that really gets people to smile and feel your warmth and feel your shine. And and it goes down through your experiences, but it's really doing that in a manner that's it's written for what people need to know about you, and it doesn't go too far. It's not long. It doesn't, it's not like it's never ending, but it's tight, right? It's succinct and it does its job.
Okay, so we have SOAR. Make sure my team is putting this in the comment section. So we talked about strategy, we talked about optimize, and now what's A?
So now that you have this foundation, right? You've got your brand on LinkedIn. A is amplify. And how do you amplify your message? How do you amplify your brand? You do that through your network. And your network is your net worth. So we want to make sure that you're.
Amen. I say that all the time. Did you take it from me or did I take it from you?
I think we took it from Porter Gale, who wrote the book
there we go.
with that title. But it's so true, isn't it? It should be, that who you are. It's the people that you help and the people who help you.
Yeah, Dr. Nito Cobain always talks about it. He's like, Dr. Nito Cobain is president of High Point University, sits on the board of directors for Lazy Boy. I think it's Great Harvest Bread Company and a bunch of other board seats. And he always says, look, you want to be poor people, you want to be rich people, you want to be, your network is your net worth. Whatever you decide you want to be, that's who you hang out with, and that's who you be.
I remember hearing a keynote, and what the guy said was, you want to know who you are? You are the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. So look at them, and you're going to be looking in the mirror. You want to do better? Surround yourself with, different people.
Different people,
but
not necessarily better people, but different people who you want
to. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Different people. With LinkedIn, you want to make sure you have that network. And one of the biggest issues that I see is a lot of times people will say, oh, I'm not getting any, and I'm not seeing any traction on LinkedIn. And the reason is their network is just so small. You really do want to have a strong network. Now, I'm not suggesting, just aiming low and wide. I'm not suggesting connecting with everybody and their brother. But what I am suggesting is really being deliberate and consistently connecting with the people that you meet and spending time to get that foundation set of all the people that you've met throughout your career. It's not about just saying, oh, well, I'm in this area of my business, in this industry, I'm only going to connect with these people. I'm not suggesting that, but who do you intersect with? Who do you know? Your family, your friends, your schoolmates, your colleagues, your vendors, your clients. All of these people are people that are in your network, and make sure you spend the time to connect with them. And you never stop connecting. You're always connecting.
Before we completely talk about network, what was that R?
We haven't gotten to R yet, but let's.
Where's my R? I need my R.
All right, so we got strategize, we've got optimize, we've got amplify. R is relate. So now that you know your strategy and your goals and your target audience, you have this great looking profile that truly talks about your value and your message, your story, and it's written to that target audience. You have a good, strong network that you are continuing to build. Now is the time that you want to start to relate to these people. And you want to start to engage, and you have the network. Now you can network. So this is where you start to get loud on LinkedIn. And the way you get loud.
How do you get loud? Like, what's an example of loud? How do you get loud?
So getting loud is to stop the lurking. and when you scroll through that LinkedIn feed, you start to show that you're here. And the way you show that you're there and you're present is not through the like button, but through the comment. So you want to start to comment. on other people's posts and start to try to have conversations. That's really what we're looking for. It's not just that one-off comment, but it's having a conversation. It's providing some value and responding and engaging this back and forth within the comments of posts of people within your network. Once you get good at that and you start to really get familiar with it, then you can start to think in terms of maybe you want to start to post. Maybe you want to repost other people's interesting material. But, I don't want to make people feel like you have to immediately jump into the deep end of the pool because that is hard. But if you can take it step by step and you start to really acclimate to that LinkedIn feed, that's when you're going to start to feel more comfortable and to start posting will become a little easier.
I think your dogs just agreed with everything you said.
Yes. Yes. I was really hoping you didn't hear that.
We heard it. It's great. You know what? We all live in the real world. We have puppies. We have kids. Hey, so let's go back a little bit about, because we have SOAR and we have what it means for everybody in the note sections. But let's go back a little bit about who you connect with. So is it okay to connect with people you don't know, right? Reach out to people you don't know, you've never met before, so you can build that circle of influence.
Michelle, at one time, the only way to subscribe to other people's updates and have them subscribe to you was through that connection. And you had to connect. There was no other way. LinkedIn has given us the follow button, so we can follow people. So, if you don't know someone, you can click follow. You can follow their updates, follow their posts, and start to comment on what they're putting out there. And you start to show up in their life and they start to know you, and then you can hit the connect button. So here's the thing. I mean, if you have a reason to connect and that person is clearly open to connecting with people they don't know, and you have a good reason to connect and you personalize that message, go right ahead. But if you want to have a really strong network, click follow instead, get to know them, and then hit connect.
All right. I love that. We got some questions coming in. And by the way, whoever asks questions that we read on air, I will send 3 chapters of my book, Exit Rich. I don't know. Donna, you want to throw in a couple of chapters of dumb?
Yeah, I'll throw in 3 chapters as well.
So there you go, folks. We have 6 chapters coming your way for anyone to ask questions, and we read the questions here.
Oh, you know what I'll do? I'll give them access to my instant profile, which is a AI-driven way of optimizing your profile.
And how often should you change that profile? Because I thought your information was golden. SOAR was golden. How often should you update that?
With updating your profile, if you think about it, LinkedIn it's not just a network, right? It's a search engine. And people are searching LinkedIn trying to find someone like you because they have like this heaping, bucket of opportunity they want to hand to you, right? So we want to collide with that opportunity. We want to turn up in search results, right? So I'm coming around. If you're wondering where am I going with this? So we want to intersect with opportunity. We want to collide with it. We want to turn up in search results. Does it make sense for LinkedIn to show old, out-of-date profiles in their search results? It doesn't. LinkedIn wants fresh results of people who are active on the platform, who are going to be more apt to respond to these people. They want something that's fresh.
You need to use keywords and key search words in your profile and in your comments and things you post.
Well, not so much on the things that you post. I mean, it's certainly helpful, but definitely having the right keywords in your profile will help you collide with that opportunity. But having a fresh profile will as well. And so I would suggest at least once every 3 months, go in there, check to see how it looks. If something has happened, if you have a new accomplishment, if you have a new skill set, go in there and just make sure that the profile is fresh. It's fresh. It's been updated. It's been edited. And it's going to help you. It's going to help you because LinkedIn wants to deliver pertinent and nice, maybe not piping hot, but relatively not stale, quite fresh results. So, definitely go in there.
Point. Yeah, because we put our profiles up and then we forget it. And we put them up there and then we completely forget about them. And we add all these services and things that we do. And then we don't update that profile. So that's a huge point right there. And make sure you use those keywords. So how do they find out what keywords they should be they should use in their profile?
I wish there was, some some obvious way of gathering.
LinkedIn's got all the answers. Come on.
Yeah, LinkedIn doesn't really, provide. They provide a little bit, especially if you're a premium member. They'll tell you how people landed on your profile, and they'll give some idea of the keywords. But ultimately, you have to do your own due diligence, and you have to do your own research and really think. If a person is
Or we could
looking,
just hire you.
or they could hire me too.
I'm always
But
like, do it for me. I'm a dumb for you kind of girl.
yeah, well, you know what? I said it before. It's hard to write about yourself,
Well,
and
it's
I
also
think,
always better when somebody else is selling you versus you selling yourself too. So if
yeah.
you can get endorsements, and that's something else, how do you go about getting endorsement?
Well, to get endorsements, and that's when you say endorsements, that's going on to your LinkedIn profile, looking at the skills section, and having people endorse you for those skills. There's no easy way of doing that. I wish there was. The best way to do it is if you want to get endorsed, make sure the top 3 are featured, and you ask people. You ask people to endorse you, and then you go out and endorse other people. And as you endorse, hopefully they'll feel inclined to endorse you back.
So it's kind of like a book. You go out there and get endorsements. You offer to endorse their books. So free version or paid version?
For most
On LinkedIn.
people, the free version is good enough. It's fine. So I would even say that's the last thing that you should be thinking about. The most important thing is using LinkedIn. And just because you've paid for LinkedIn doesn't mean that you're going to suddenly magically start using it. So before you even consider a premium account, what I want you to do instead is soar, right? Strategize, optimize, amplify, and then relate. And once you start to use LinkedIn in that manner and you start to see results, you're going to find that you're on it more often. You're doing more searches, and you're finding more opportunity, and you're getting a return on your time investment. At that point, LinkedIn is going to make it very clear when it's time to pony up and move to the premium package. And what happens is you start to look at the people who have viewed your profile, and you want to see more than just the last 5. Right? You want to see more people who have viewed your profile. You're also going to find that LinkedIn is going to say things like, oh, you've run out of searches this month. If you want to search, you're going to have to get the premium. You're also going to find that you want more people to message you without being directly first degree connected. So that's another thing that's really big, because why be limited to just your first degree connections? You want anyone and everybody to be able to message you on LinkedIn. Those are really the underlying signs that it's time to pay.
Time to pony up.
To pony up.
So your friend Esther says, okay, what do we got here? You want to answer your friend Esther real quick?
Oh, wait, I've got to scroll down here and find Esther. Okay, what do we got
here?
What do we got? Well, you know what? We've got a professional network, which is lovely, right? It's some place that you can go, and you really can feel like you're not wasting your time, right? It's not just for entertainment.
What do you have here on the show? Like, what can she expect from the podcast today? So ask her. You can elaborate if you like. So we're going to move on to Hayden. Hayden says, how can individuals effectively communicate their personal brand through their profiles?
Hayden, the way to do that is, first you need to know what your brand is, and how what do you want to articulate about it. And then what you want to do is just make sure that when you go through that profile from the very top to the bottom, you're encapsulating that. So it's making sure that you have a background graphic. Maybe if there's a certain color, or maybe it's looking at your website and grabbing graphics from there. But making sure that the background graphic makes sense. It's not just that gray stripy default background, but it's something that you've looked at and you've chosen and you've uploaded. It's having a profile picture that really shows you in a successful way. It doesn't have to be a glamour shot, but it really does put you out there in a great manner. It's having a headline that says very briefly who you are, what you do, and how you help. It contains your keywords. It's then going through that about section and, really thinking, what is your story? What is your why? And what is it that your target audience needs to know about you? And how can you open yourself up and give them a little bit of a sense of your warmth, your personality, and, your passion and your mission for what you do. And if you do that and you go right straight through and you really think, and you do it deliberately, you do it thoughtfully, you really can't go wrong. It's just finding the time and finding the words that, that really state it in the right way.
Absolutely. It's kind of like before you said you got to get loud, and
Mhm.
you maybe not in your profile, but you got so many seconds to capture someone's attention, and it's so noisy on social media. Think about it, it's noisy everywhere,
Yeah.
but you got to rise above the noise. So you really got to be unique and set yourself apart from everyone else on LinkedIn.
It's certainly not easy, but at the same time, LinkedIn is one of those networks where a lot of people are on it quietly. They're scrolling, they're looking, they're
But you want to get
lurking.
their attention, right? Because they're
And
scrolling and looking and
yeah, but at the
dynamic.
same time, most of them are. So for you to be the one that then suddenly says, "Hey, I am going to step forth and I am going to start to create content and I'm going to start to really educate and inspire and add value and motivate just simply by being one of the few people that do step up and start to put forth that information, you're
Yeah.
going to find that you get a lot of eyeballs because of that."
And I think it's very important to think about, what's in it for them, right? Everybody wants to know what's in it for me, and really know who your audience is or who you're trying to attract as your audience, who your target audience is, so you can really focus on some of those features and benefits and, how you solve problems.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and people are hungry, right? They want this information. So how can you give it to them in a manner that it tastes good and it makes them see you in the right light?
people are hungry but they're full because of all the stuff that comes our way sometimes. But yes, we are hungry for quality, quality, quality content.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree
Yeah.
more. So Tib asks, what are some common mistakes you see people making on their LinkedIn profiles?
I think one of the biggest mistakes I see on the LinkedIn profile is a misalignment between their target audience, their goal, and then that narrative, what they're
Yep.
what they're putting out there, that message. So oftentimes people just hate to write about themselves and they really don't even know what to say. So they'll grab a bio that was written a few years ago and they'll slam that into the about section, or they'll pull out their resume and they'll just copy and paste information from that in. And they're really not thinking in terms of, okay, why am I on LinkedIn? If you're on LinkedIn because you want to do it for business development purposes, the last thing your target audience wants to read is that resume, especially if it's dry, dull, and out of date, and especially if it talks about how you like to close business or you enjoy selling. That's not a message that they want to hear. So it's
Yeah, because
really
they don't want to be
important.
sold, right, Donna? They don't want to be
Right.
sold.
So you're really alienating your audience. So you want to really get clear as to, what is it? What do they want to know about you? What do you want to share? That's so it's a misalignment. I oftentimes will see where a person will put nothing on their profile. They'll have this amazing trajectory. And you can see by the companies they worked for, the length of time, their positions. I mean, you can tell that it's golden, but unfortunately, it's a skeleton because there's no context, there's no meat, there's nothing more, and so people don't even know what to think, and they almost dismiss it. So it is finding and striking that balance where you are telling a story and you are giving information and you're showing how you've moved through your career and what you've learned and why it was important and how you're utilizing this to continue to move forward.
How much business is actually being done on LinkedIn?
How much business is being done on LinkedIn? I have pretty much done zero lead gen or marketing, and yet my phone rings every day from people who
On
have seen
LinkedIn.
me on LinkedIn and need help. I think a lot of business is being done. I wish I could pull out a figure for you, but
No,
if
I
you
knew
think
it was a
about it,
tricky question when I asked it, but a lot of people, they just plop things up on social media, and again, they don't have that intent, and you need to make
Mhm.
sure you have that strategy and intent that you talked about in SOAR.
Yeah,
But yeah, it is a business platform
it
to
is.
for lead generation and
And I think even more so with people working from home, people are slowly returning to the office, but still a lot of people who are working from home,
Mhm.
working virtually, and LinkedIn gives them that ability to interface and network and have that sort of water cooler time in a professional setting. So I think we're seeing more because of that. But LinkedIn is it's also for recruitment, right? It's a place to go and to research, so for people who are looking to work at your organization, they're doing their own research, so it's not always just about leads and that type of business. It extends far beyond just that.
We did poaching. We did our poaching on LinkedIn. I can't say we were highly successful, but we were a little successful. Jacob asked, what advice do you have for users when it comes to highlighting their experience, skills, and achievements? So that's kind of goes along with the conversation we're having right now.
It's really it's realizing that there is a difference between your resume and your profile. And your resume should have more of the granular accomplishments, and the numbers, the quantifiable numbers and accomplishments should be there on the resume. The profile, I want there to be that story. I want you to show people, what you've done, and tell that story around those accomplishments. But I also want people to want to request your resume. I don't want you to give everything away, because we all have to remember that the profile is completely and utterly public. Anybody can see it. And so I don't want you to feel that you have to give everything away on the profile, but definitely tell these stories and think in terms, again, I keep going back to it, but what was important to you, you have to think to yourself, is this important in the long run? Is this going to take me into the future that I want for myself? And there are times when you do have to start to let things go. We were talking about mistakes that we see on the profile. One of the things is I see a bottom heavy profile, where a person starts out their career, they get on LinkedIn, they put a lot of information in, and then they just start to add the new positions on top, but they don't put the context. And all of the context is in these older positions. And so what happens is you start to turn up in those search results, because that's where all of the content is these older positions. And you start to get all these unqualified types of opportunities. And it's because the older positions are the ones that are optimized. And so you do have to start to pare down and take that stuff away, because you don't want to be turning up in, search results for like customer service opportunities that you may have done earlier in your career.
Well, we have so many questions to get to. So, Christopher Bratt, I hope I'm saying that right. How do you feel about utilizing the new AI enhancements and AI in general when it comes to being engaging and endorsing yourself? That's a great question.
That's a great
You,
question.
you deserve some chapters there.
I have to say, I think AI is fabulous. It's a little scary, but it does offer us tools, and it's going to provide. At one time, those who were really loud on the different social media channels, they had a team of people helping them, and I think AI can become that individual's team, and allow a person to do more than they were able to do before, and I think that's a good thing. I do have a instant profile that allows you to use AI to generate the narrative and text for your profile. It's different, it's not the same as working with another human being who you can talk to and really let them understand and decide what's important. But I think, for people who are starting out, have a limited budget, I think AI in that regard can work very well. There's a lot of great tools out there as well that can help you understand the things to post and how to post better. And
Can you tell us some of those tools real quick?
I sometimes just go straight to Chat GPT, and this is what I want to write about, and can you help me format it? Can you help me edit it? And can you take this text? Can you flesh it out? Can you make it more optimistic? Can you make it more succinct, more professional? And just prompts like that can really help you when you are posting on LinkedIn.
Make
One
sure,
of
make sure it's not lying to you, because it does lie from time to time.
Well, that's the other part, I think, with AI is I think those who are very successful in using it are using it because they have a vision in mind. They know what the nugget is that they're trying to put forth. And when you have that, you have the vision, you have an idea of what it is that you really want to say. You're just using it to really help just strengthen it and make it, more successful. I think that's when you're going to be more successful. When you go to AI and you're like, just create something. That's when, and it's just AI. It's not AI in the human eye. That's when I think there's that potential for failure.
Right. So your friend Esther asked, how else can we project ourselves apart from connecting to new people in LinkedIn?
Let me see if I
Can you
can
read that
find
again?
that one.
How else can we project ourselves apart from connecting to new people in LinkedIn?
I don't think I understand exactly what she's saying.
She's asking, how else can we project ourselves apart from connecting to new people? Esther, can you clarify your
Oh, there it is.
question?
I see it now. I think you want to connect. I think you also want to follow on LinkedIn, follow people that you don't know. But LinkedIn it extends beyond that. There's groups that you can become a part of. There's not a lot of groups that are very active, but I think becoming a part of a group, certainly following hashtags and jumping outside of your network to get good information on LinkedIn. I think those are all, really ways that you can utilize LinkedIn beyond just connecting to people.
Okay, awesome. We got so many questions here. So Steph wants to know, could you share a success story of someone who transformed their LinkedIn profile based on your advice and saw significant positive outcomes?
Yes. Which one shall we hit upon?
Give us your best one that comes to your mind.
I'll say this. I've had a client who came to me years ago, wanted her resume, wanted her profile done. And she is one of those individuals that when good things were happening, she was always making sure she was coming back, keeping the profile up to date. And I've watched her grow in her career. I've watched her go from, new position to new position, always promotions, some really interesting pivots. And she just recently started her own company and she's having amazing success. And a lot of that is because of that brand being always very deliberate and aware of who her our audience is, her goal, how she's presenting herself, and that network that she's forged on LinkedIn. And so, for me, when I see what she's done and that the fact that she's now taken that step and she started this company and she's doing some amazing things. It's Shelly Morales HR. You can actually go and check her out and see all the wonderful things that she's doing. But I'm very, very proud of her. And to me, she's one of our greatest success stories.
Wow, that's amazing. I love to hear success stories. So, Jacob asked, what are some of the latest trends or changes you've noticed in the realm of LinkedIn profile optimization? Wow, everybody wants to know about profile.
Some of the changes we've noticed. Oh my,
Some of the latest trends, changes
yeah.
you've noticed in the realm of LinkedIn profile optimization. Because social media is always changing, right? Facebook is changing.
It's always changing. It's always changing. Oddly enough, looking at that LinkedIn profile, it has been very much, it hasn't changed an awful lot over the years. It has the headline, it's got the profile picture, it's got the about section. One of the things that I'm going to make a prediction right now,
Okay.
and that is I do believe that what we're going to start to see is a tightening of the narrative. With it no longer, it's almost going to become like a commodity, right? Like it's not going to be hard to generate content. It's not going to be hard to generate a narrative through AI. And so what's going to become important is being able to say what you want to say in the most succinct, most clear, most engaging way possible. And so I almost feel that for the longest of time, it was always like, let's go as long as we can. Let's really max out the character limits. And doing so makes sense, right? Because of the keyword density that we can get. The more words we use, the more, we're able to really infuse the keywords. But at the same time, I think LinkedIn is going to get smarter. It's not going to be so much about how many, how often those keywords are used, but, in what type of a context are we using it, and really looking throughout and seeing, the trajectory of the person and where they work and who they are and what they're creating and how they're using the content that they're posting. And so I almost feel that it's not going to be about, large swaths of content, but content in the most succinct, the most impressive way, right? So it has to really, it has to elicit a reaction. And so it's not just about content for content's sake.
Gotcha. Okay. So Steph also asked, with the rise of remote work and online networking, because people are going to come back to the office, but so many people have decided they're just going to work from home, and a lot of companies are adapting to that. But how can professionals use LinkedIn to expand their connections and opportunities beyond geographical boundaries?
What a very thoughtful question. With LinkedIn,
He gets chapters too.
say it again.
He gets our chapters too.
Absolutely. With LinkedIn, it is a search. It's a search engine. I said that before. And so, Stefan, I think it's going to be important for you to really think to yourself, where do I want to be? What do these companies look like? Where are they located? And start to do those searches and figure out where those areas are, find the companies that exist within it, and then stop looking at just the profile, but look at the company page. And from that company page, go into the people tab and start to see the people that comprise those companies. And from there, you can start to say, oh, I need to be looking and connecting with these people. So that's one way of looking at it. But again, it's always be connecting. Look beyond just those who are like in your backyard and see what else is out there. Start using LinkedIn as a search engine.
What about reaching out to like competitors? What's your thoughts on that?
To me, it's not a bad thing, right? I mean, especially if we have a relationship with them. If you don't know a person, it's always a little weird to just reach out,
But it
especially
is
if it's a
okay.
competitor. But
Clarify, Donna, it is okay to reach out to people on LinkedIn that you don't know, because that's what you're trying to do, is build a network,
yeah,
build a much bigger network that doesn't have those geographical.
but at the same time, I think you want to, if you're going to do that, you need to have a personalized note and a reason for that connection, right? It's not
Personalized
just,
note.
yeah.
Okay, that was very important that you just said. Let's put that in the comments. If you're going to reach out to people you don't know, have a personalized note. Can you give it as an example of a personalized note?
It's the reason why you want to connect, especially if you don't know the person. Now, if you know the person, I don't see the point in a personalized note, especially if they
I mean, we
recognize
reach out,
your
like I know we
face.
reach out to a lot of people we don't know because we're trying to
Mhm.
expand our network, and
Yeah. But
if we
again,
have
a personalized note that says, "Hey, this is who I am, and this is, who I help, and we know these people in common." Something that alerts the person as to why, why
okay.
you're connecting. But the same goes for, you had said, can I connect with my competitors? You can certainly connect with your competitors. I don't know if they'll connect back. Maybe they will. I don't think it's a bad thing to do, because I think there's a lot of business in this world, and it could be an opportunity for collaboration.
I actually like to connect with industries outside of mine, because a lot of people think, oh, you got to learn from your competitors. You got to learn from your competitors. You need to know what your competitors are doing. But I think just as importantly, you need to know what other huge companies are doing and
Yeah.
learn from them, like Walt Disney, Four Seasons. I mean, you can name a bunch of great companies to learn from, Apple. So I think it's really important to also reach out and figure out, what are they doing? Why are they so successful? What secrets, what trade secrets can I learn from them? So I think it's important to really kind of reach out and follow some of these big industries that you want to emulate.
Oh, absolutely. And I think a lot of times people forget that LinkedIn is a place to go, for learning, for not just research, but to learn and to see what's, how are other people shaping their careers, and where have they came from, and where are they going? And even using the LinkedIn Learning, there's
Mm.
tons of courses that you can take on LinkedIn. So it certainly is. It's a fruitful
If you have time
platform.
for courses, but I say just go to Donna. Go to the
Thank
queen.
you.
So how do we grow our followers or our connections on LinkedIn? I know you have over what, 45,000, I believe.
Yeah, I'm rapidly approaching the 45. I think I'm at 43 right now.
So how are you growing that? Like, how were you able to grow that? And what are some tips you have?
The one thing I will say is I do utilize the Yesware add-on in my Gmail. So when I
You
do email
utilize
people,
what? Yeah.
Yesware,
What?
the Yesware plugin.
Yesware. What is Yesware?
So it's a Gmail plugin, but it allows me to, whenever anyone emails me, I can see their LinkedIn profile on the side of the email. And I can,
Oh,
it's just a much easier way where I don't have to do a search. It just pops up by email and I can click and connect. And that has been very helpful, is
that's
making
a
sure
great
that,
tool. Yeah,
oh,
that's a
it's
great tool. I want my team to put that in there so everybody can start using that tool. The Yes, it's called Yes.
Yesware, Yesware. It only works with Sales Navigator. So you do need to
I
have the
use Sales
premium account.
Navigator. Why don't we share with our audience what Sales Navigator is real quick? Because there is a fee for that.
Yeah, well, that's the premium sales piece of LinkedIn. So,
Oh,
I think for a lot of people, some people think of it the recruiter. There's the recruiter light. There's the sales navigator for salespeople. But sales navigators. It's just the premium
I
package
use
for
Sales
LinkedIn.
Navigator, and it just dawned on me that we have premium.
Oh, well, it's a totally different interface.
Oh, LinkedIn. So I just have to throw that out there. My marketing director does.
Yeah, it's a different interface. So when you have Sales Navigator, you still have LinkedIn.com, but then you have the Sales Navigator interface, and it allows you to really drill in and do a much deeper search. And it
Hmm.
also allows you to really choose who enters your LinkedIn feed. So you're only seeing those people that you want to see, and not the entire network, which is quite nice.
So back on how to grow your LinkedIn followers connections. What's the top secrets for that? You got Yesware, anything else?
Using the QR code. So when you're out and about and you're meeting people, rather than grabbing a business card or trying to put it into your memory and come back and connect at a later date, just connecting right then and there on the spot using the QR code.
So does that
That's
mean include your QR code in the section or in your profile or in a comment?
So what you could do is when you're in person, you go
Mhm.
into the LinkedIn app, you click on the search bar, and a QR code shows up on the far right of the search bar, and you click on that, and then suddenly when you show it to the other person, they can scan it with their phone, and your profile will pop up, and they can immediately hit connect. That QR code is works even when you're not in a one-on-one situation. So, I do a lot of speaking engagements, and so I like to include that QR code
Hmm.
in the speaking engagement. So whether it's, in the middle of it or at the end, I always say, everyone get out your phone. Please take a picture of this QR code. My LinkedIn profile pops up, hit the follow, hit connect. And that right there, so for people who have that audience, it's a fabulous way of growing your network really in a much more, a really speedy way.
That's it. That's a huge tip. I speak a lot too, international speaker, and I use the QR code, but I don't think I'm using it in my social media platform. So that's a huge tip. Any other go to nuggets like that you can share?
In terms of fast ways of increasing your network, I would definitely say go to the My Network page and scroll through it. LinkedIn is trying, they really try to make it easy for you to connect with people, but I think very few people click on My Network and really scroll through. If you scroll to the very bottom of that page, it says the people we think you think the people you may know. And what they do is they extrapolate from your network and the people that they know who they think you probably know. And LinkedIn is almost eerie in how spot on they are. And so
So
you
what
may
was that
find by
called?
just simply
What was that called again?
My Network. So clicking
So
on the
my
My
team,
Network and go all the way down.
anything else? Any other big go to nugget?
I've got tons of golden nuggets, but
Oh,
I
I can
think
jot that down.
we're at the top of the hour, so I feel like
We're at the top of the hour. And Hayden had one question I'm going to try to get to real quick. How can individuals identify and strategically incorporate relevant keywords into their profiles? And I think you talked a little bit about that already. I don't know if you have any.
what I will say is once you identify the keywords that people are using to find someone like you, take those keywords, decide which ones are the most the biggest ones, the most important ones. Make sure they're in your headline, make sure they're in your about section. If you can infuse them into your job titles, those are really sensitive areas. And you should see that you do pop up more often and search for those keywords if they are in those fields.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so, I have one question. How do you reconnect with somebody? Like you've lost connection, or you're still trying to get them to respond? What's your advice for that?
One of the ways is one, first determining, is this person active on LinkedIn? And if they are active, it could just be as simple as visiting their profile, clicking on the bell icon in the upper right, so you are notified when they do pop up, when they do post on LinkedIn. Sometimes just simply visiting a profile, I found, is enough to like just show back up, because if they are on LinkedIn, they're actively showing, they might click on the notifications and see, oh, Michelle visited my profile. And sometimes it's just little things like that, little drips, and then popping into a post and commenting, sending them a message and saying, hey, I've been thinking about you. And then, of course, just getting off of LinkedIn and picking up the phone and saying hello.
All right, wonderful. Well, you have been an amazing guest and dropped a lot of ninja tips.
Oh,
I
thank you.
I vote for Donna Serdula to run LinkedIn. CEO.
Yeah, I was sad when Jeff Weiner decided not to bestow the CEO title on me when he stepped down.
Wonderful. Well, I don't see any other questions. So tell our listeners how they can find you. How can they reach out to you? How can you help?
Certainly find me on LinkedIn. That's a fabulous way.
But you know what? I should have said, just go find her on LinkedIn.
Just find me on LinkedIn. But my website's linkedin-makeover.com. And we help people tell their story. We help people brand their companies, brand their employees, and really put themselves out there in the right light on LinkedIn and beyond. It's not just LinkedIn, of course, but certainly visit linkedinmakeover.com. We've got tons of free resources. All of our services are listed. We hold nothing back. Our pricing, everything is there and visible and easy to see. And I answer my phone. So if anyone ever has any questions, they can always give me a call. I'm more than happy to talk.
Gosh, she actually answers her phone. I'm so
Yeah.
impressed.
Something so small, but very few people do it anymore.
So impressive. So I want to ask you real quick about Vision Board Media. Give us a quick commercial on that.
So Vision Board Media, we elevate and we accelerate careers through our branding, our personal branding, through LinkedIn, through websites.
About entrepreneurship. Do you help entrepreneurs with vision boards as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So with Vision Board, again, it's all about helping people in their career, and that could be in their business. It doesn't have to be just an employee track. It's your track. It's whether you're an entrepreneur or you're something else, you need to be able to tell your story. You need to be able to really get deliberate on your brand, and we're there to help.
Okay, wonderful. So how do we reach you there? What's
It's linkedin-makeover.com. So LinkedIn Makeover is the domain. Vision Board Media is our company. You've got a vision. I've got a board of writers and coaches and consultants, and we can help you with all of the media that you need.
Wonderful. So I encourage everyone to go there. And where can they find your dummies book?
Go to LinkedIn. No, I'm sorry. Go to Amazon. It's just
go to LinkedIn.
Yeah, go to LinkedIn. I'm so used to saying that. No, go to just it's on Amazon. It's on Barnes and Noble. I find that even if I walk into a Barnes and Noble, it's often there in the midst of the For Dummies technology section. But yeah, it's LinkedIn profile optimization for dummies. Definitely get the one that has the chess pieces and not the silver balls. The silver balls is the first edition, and that one is a little bit out of date. But the one with the chess pieces is still very, very current. And it's definitely will give you a really good sense of what to do and how to do it. Like I said, we have people who can do it for you, but we also have instant profile, which will help you utilize AI to do it for yourself if that's the route you want to go.
Well, I'm gonna do it for you, person. Like I said before. Do it for me. I don't have time to do it. So, well, thank you so much, Donna, for being on our show, the Queen of LinkedIn. Love having you here. You dropped so many golden nuggets, and you're a terrific guest. Love to have you back on again and, spill some more beans.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. And thanks again to all of our Exit Rich guests for listening. Thank you for some new guests that participated today because they all love Donna. I said that in the comments. So thank you so much for tuning in. This was a great episode. Like I said, it's going to be like drinking from a fire hose. So go back and listen again and again. Make sure you share this with your network of business owners, entrepreneurs, your network of people searching for jobs, anyone and everyone. This is great content there. And also, make sure you share this with your network. You tune in every time to Exit Rich. Don't forget to subscribe to Exit Rich. We'll see you next Wednesday. And also, you can find Exit Rich book on Amazon. You can find it in Hudson bookstores, in any other bookstore like Barnes & Noble, etc. So till next time, thank you so much for joining in. And thank you, Donna. You're a fantastic guest.
Thanks for listening to the Exit Rich podcast. Don't forget to check out Michelle Seiler Tucker's Build to Sell Blueprint books and Exit Rich, along with more blogs, videos, and resources at exitrichpodcast.com. Be sure to connect with Michelle on Facebook or LinkedIn and stay tuned for her next episode by subscribing in your favorite podcast player.